Good evening. So, look at me, see me, tell me, what do you see? Participation, yes. I am a triple E, an educator, an entrepreneur, an engineer. I'm a mathematician. I'm an analyst. I'm a manager to a team of cybersecurity engineers. I am one of NSBE's DFW Hidden Figures. I am a congressional award recipient, US Congressional Award recipient. I am all of these things. But when I ask you to see me, is that what you see? So I went to college and I had to read this book. It was called Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Maybe you know about it. Now, don't ask me anything. I could not tell you the details of that book because it was so long ago when I read it. But two distinct quotes stood out to me. And the first one is this one: I am invisible, understand, simply because people refuse to see me. When they approach me, they see my surroundings, themselves, or figments of their imagination. Indeed, anything and everything except for me. So it's the second day of class, and I am a professor of this higher level math class. And a lot of students didn't believe that I could be the actual professor of this class. I was young, in my early 20s at the time, African American and female. And I was counseling a student. And so I could see out of the corner of my eye a student waiting to talk to the professor. So when I finished talking to the student I had been counseling, he walks away, and the waiting student does not walk to me. He walks to the student that I had been talking to and proceeded to ask him questions about the class. And so I found it funny, and I just stood to the side and just kind of smiled. But this interchange went on for maybe 5 minutes. And then the student I had been counseling said, you know, dude, I'm not the professor. She is the professor of the class. You need to be asking those questions of her. And then you should have seen the look on this guy's face. He could not believe that I was actually the professor of this math class. He thought it was a joke. But now I look back on that incident and I wonder, why didn't I correct him when he initially approached? Why did I allow that interchange to go on for as long as it did? I was engulfed at that time in this curse of invisibility. I found the situation funny, I found it humorous, and I laughed at it then. But had I known that that error would manifest itself throughout my career as an educator, an entrepreneur, and an engineer, I would have taken it a little bit more serious. Because I know I can analyze that code, I know I can solve that problem, I know I can do all those things, but I always felt throughout my career as I had to perform some type of trick. I had to yell to be seen, trying constantly to remain visible. So, you know about this movie. It came out last year over the summer. It's Hidden Figures. And when it first came out, I don't know why I was hesitating. I didn't go see it, but a lot of people in my circle, a lot of my friends, a lot of my family, a lot of my peers, a lot of my coworkers, they all would tell me the same thing. They saw this movie and it reminded them of me. I would get IMs on social media. I would get texts just from all around saying, this movie reminds me of you. So I don't know why I waited so long to go see the movie, but eventually I went and saw it. And you know what? That movie reminded me of myself. And I cried through the entire thing. because Miss Catherine, Miss Dorothy, and Miss Mary, all those things that they had gone through, all their slights, all of the times of being invisible, I had also experienced. And it just teared me up. And so, cried through the whole movie, get to the credits, I'm in the car, and I stopped crying, and I got mad. And I was mad at myself, because I asked myself, why didn't I know about these women? Why didn't I know about their contributions? They were invisible to me, and that frustrated me, because I felt that I should have known. So I started looking up some statistics, and these are women in STEM, and I was curious to know how many women are in STEM now, science, technology, engineering, and math. How many are in these STEM careers? So this is a 2015 statistic from the National Science Foundation, and as you can see, there's a small percentage of women in 2015 that are taking a part in these STEM careers. And don't even add women of color. Then the percentage drops significantly. And so I began thinking again. So I know these women, when did it start? Are they feeling invisible? Did it start as young girls? Were they feeling invisible in their STEM subjects? And so I found another statistic from the Girl Scouts. And 57% of girls don't even consider a career in the STEM fields. So I'm wondering, why is that? Why is it that so many people, young girls specifically, why aren't they considering careers in STEM? So I thought back on another incident in my life, and this goes back to the 7th grade. It's a 7th grade biology class. And so I had been preparing for this biology test, and I studied really, really hard. I studied really hard. And I ended up making 100 on that biology test. And I was proud, yes. I was proud of that 100. I was proud. But back then, young girls, we weren't supposed to be smart, especially in the subjects where I excelled, were math and the sciences. It was okay for us to be cute, but it wasn't okay for us to be smart. And so I made that 100, but the teacher didn't believe I deserved that 100. They thought I cheated. So they made me take the test again. And you know what? Guess what? I made another 100. And so I thought in my mind, I'm like, every time you give me this test, I'd study for it. I am going to make a 100. That's the first thought. But then the second thought was, why bother? If my intelligence is always going to be challenged, if I'm always going to be challenged every time, why even do it? So you know what I did? I made myself invisible. I did just enough to get a good grade, but I stopped doing more to stand out. And so I'm wondering, is that what's happening to these young girls who are excelling in these subjects? They like them, but they're not supposed to be smart in these STEM subjects. Are they being encouraged, or are they saying, no, you can't do that? No, I don't believe you. What's going on? So I thought, how do we break that curse of invisibility? What can you do? So for me, it took an internal realization that I mattered. What I say matters. What I do matter. I know what I know. And I stopped jumping through those hoops. I dared people to see me, and I began to be bold in the knowledge that I had. So those are the 3 things that I have here on the screen that I say you can do to break the curse. The first one is be bold. It is okay. There are millions of young women, young ladies, older women who are proficient in the STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math. And you can be cute. You can be athletic. You can be smart. You can be all these things. You don't have to be in that one box. Be bold. Dare people to see you. Dare people to challenge you. Be so visible that they're forced to see you, want to be you, and want to be where you are. Embrace. Embrace your passion, especially as in the STEM careers. Like I keep saying, it's okay. Embrace, especially the subjects you're not supposed to be good in. I did enough to support others' comfort for a long time. And I can tell you, you will not be happy supporting someone else's comfort. Embrace where you are. And finally, no fear. Being invisible allows you to hide. Don't be afraid. So I mentioned before, the Ralph Ellison Invisible Man book, 2 quotes. And here's the second one. I was searching for myself and asking everyone except myself questions in which I and only I could answer. It took me a long time to come to the realization, which it seems like everybody else has been born with, that I am nobody but myself. So invisibility is a choice. Choose to be seen. Choose to be heard. Choose your STEM career if it's your STEM career. Choose to be. Thank you.